Games with an alien invasion based story are nothing new. There's a brand new one though called Earth's Dawn for the PlayStation 4. But is this Earth worth saving, or is this one invasion that you should just let happen? Earth's Dawn is a mission-based action game where you're tasked with going into areas infested with the aliens and trying to repel them. There's multiple different types of missions, from ones where you have to destroy a certain number of creatures, infiltrate alien bases, and of course defeat some pretty large epic bosses. The game starts you off by having you create your main character, and there's a few different voices for your character, a few different styles, and of course, male or female. There's also customizable options for the characters as you progress through the game, as you are able to get some accessories like glasses and the like to equip on your character. The game is 2D action with a very hack and slash style of gameplay. You have your main weapon hand with square, you have your secondary weapon, usually gun with triangle, you're able to jump and dash your way through enemies, and even power up into a more charged up form using the circle button once you have enough of the ability available in order to unleash some more powerful attacks and some devastating ones as well. The game has a decent variety of types of weaponry that you'll be able to use. You'll be able to enhance weapons you already have and be able to craft new ones. The game's plot is all told through these kind of stagnant, still frame cutscenes with the character just kind of standing there and some mouth movements. The audio is all in Japanese, but it does of course have English subtitles to read along. Your main story missions usually have you invading an alien base and eventually getting to a big boss at the end of it, though there is some variety to this. Most of the core game, though, is within the side missions, and the main reason for this is as you're playing through the main story missions, you basically come to a time lock. You have a timer in the upper right corner. It's set for all different amounts of time, but actually like hours worth of real time. The way you speed it up though is by completing the game's side missions, which, because of so many you have to complete, basically become main missions themselves. While there is variety to these side missions, such as defeating a certain number of creatures within a time limit, racing to a goal, finding certain items, and even saving members of your team. You do have a team in the game, by the way, but they don't seem to do anything, and there is no multiplayer in the game of any kind. Because of the amount of these side missions you have to complete, you're going to be seeing the same basic enemies and the same levels over and over again on repeat while trying to hopefully get that timer down so that you're able to go after the next main story mission. Of course, you're going to be gaining experience and items throughout so that you can get better equipment and level up your character, but unfortunately it just feels like artificial time walls to make the game seem longer than it actually is. The game does feature easy, normal, and hard difficulties for every one of the missions in the game, including the side ones. And it's actually cool that you can complete the same mission on multiple difficulties in order to get that timer going down even faster. So if you complete the mission on hard, normal, and easy, you'll get 3 of those time skips to that timer. But it's still going to take a while sometimes in order to bring that down and be able to progress the story in any way. The game, though, can get rather difficult, as it's easy to get overwhelmed by some of the creatures, especially when there's multiple of the tougher creatures on the screen. There is some variety to them, but a lot of times you will be fighting very similar creatures. They even have palette swaps later on with tougher versions of ones you've already been battling earlier on in the game. The bosses definitely do shine though. They are pretty epic and they all have interesting attack patterns that you are going to have to learn and figure out how to dash your way quickly in and out of the battle in order to keep doing damage while avoiding taking damage. For the main missions, you do have multiple lives at your disposal. Basically, your health goes all the way, you will respawn right from where you were and continue from where you were, just will count as a life. Though when you run out of lives, it is game over and you'll have to start the mission over from the very beginning. This didn't really become an issue until later in the game when the missions got a bit longer and definitely increased in difficulty. From the technical side of things, I didn't run into any major slowdown, glitching, or crashing of any sort. This is the kind of game that you're going to enjoy if you're someone who really likes loot-heavy gameplay, where you're going to be going through very similar missions over and over again to hope to get that better drop to craft the next best weapon. There's also plenty of skills in the game's skill tree that you earn by doing a lot of the game's side missions, especially getting S rank in those side missions. There is a lot to tackle in here, but unfortunately for many, including myself, it gets way too repetitive way too quickly, and having those time barriers preventing me from going into the next story mission, even if I would get my butt kicked by the harder difficulty of enemies, it's just something that I really didn't think was necessary. Earth's Dawn is available for $29.99 on the PlayStation 4. It does feature a full trophy list and a platinum trophy to obtain, which mostly has you completing the game's main story missions and unlocking all of the skills in the game. This is one of those ones that's going to be a bit difficult to recommend because of the repetitiveness and the relatively high price point for the type of game that it ends up being. With all said though, I'm going to be giving Earth's Dawn a 5 out of 10. But anyway guys, that's going to wrap up this review. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course I hope you enjoyed.